Right, hello and welcome everybody. We're back with the Byzantian Brewscast. I've been busy. My colleague has also been busy, and James eats a
Yep.
shoe. I don't know who James is. Let's just carry on. So,
We're very short issues.
how are we doing this week? Or fortnight, I guess in this case.
Keeping busy, but got loads of events down in May, which is going
Hmm.
nuts. So there's plenty to do before anything comes up. Um, yeah.
I've also been very busy, but we'll get to that later. So a lot of my busyness has been something I'll cover in a bit. I have been doing a lot of art recently as well because I needed to catch up on some stuff and things. I've also got my Necrons staring at me, begging me to paint them, so I've got to work on that probably this coming week.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the remainder of. I've got like three left to do, which should equal out to a five-man kill team.
Okay. Uh, which 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 faction?
Just Necrons, just standard Necrons. They're just the basic boys.
Okay.
I'll have to look into the rules for Necron kill teams, but that's fine. So, right, this
Yes.
week, yes, the agenda for this week. Right, where's my thing? Where's my thing? Where's my list? Where's the itinerary? Does anyone have an idea? Where's the thing?
I mean, yes.
Where's me
Good.
where's the thing? Oh, the bloody, wouldn't you know it? The blinking bookmarks fell out of my notebook. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, um, we'll jump straight into tabletop book club, shall we? I don't have anything for that this week as I've kind of run out of books. I do have a copy of a book somewhere that I do want to read, and I guess I could talk about that very briefly. It's not a tabletop book in the traditional sense, but it is a copy of, the Sundering? So it's part of the, I guess, greater Warhammer library. Does fantasy stuff
Ooh,
count as
I've never heard of
Black
that one.
Library? It's to do with
Okay.
it's to do with the High Elves. I think it's sort of about the event that made
Okay.
them go from very prosperous, very big society to there's only like a few of us left. Fuck.
Well, they were the big.
They were the big, yeah. So I'm assuming that a lot of stuff in there is going to be about like T-Cliss and all the big heroes and like, oh shit, something terrible's happening.
Most of like elf fantasy lore is, oh no, we've done something stupid and now we're all dead.
That's ourselves for you. That is Elsie. Hello, Terry. Welcome to the stream. Do you have anything for us this week?
I do, yes.
Yay.
This week I've picked up I've had this on a while on my shelf, but I've been trying to look into the name's called Oathmark. It's a just a genuine like tactics and like skirmish game.
Ah,
It's so it's slightly more miniatures to play than Kill Team, but it's a really good like open-ended system.
interesting.
Um, the systems are quite, you know, at face value, quite generic, but
Yeah.
that's kind of that kind of works. Like, so you got, for instance, you got if you want to play like you can theoretically play like any unit from any of the factions
Uh
because
huh.
it represents a kingdom rather than singular faction. But for some reason, if you wanted to build an army of goblins and elves, you could just do that. But there's because there's some slight difference between like the standard like elf warrior and the goblin warrior.
Yeah.
It's a really quite good system. It could come up with whatever thematic force you think kind of works, as long as it follows the basic sort of human, dwarf, elf, goblin sort of kind of ideal. Then you can come up with any sort of army you feel fits. And
Makes
it's
sense.
because it's not. forcing you to pick a certain like miniature range, as long as it's like a 25mm base. Dust off any old force that you've got in that size and just say, yeah, you will use that. That takes out.
Yeah, you
Um,
have a lot of like miniatures that scale. What's that one miniature brand you constantly harp on about?
Osprey.
Yeah, because you say Osprey has like a bunch of various miniatures that absolutely be perfect for stuff like that.
They just put out a lot of like systems that look generic, but they've got their own thing going on.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's 25mm. That's perfect for them as well. Um, yeah, just it's a really decent little system. The only thing that might rub people the wrong way with it though is it has it's sort of like bolt action. You have to roll to activate certain units.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can want it to do something, but there's no guarantee they'll do it every time.
Oh, it's the trolls from fucking Blood Bowl, but every unit is the trolls.
Yeah, but that's like a main mechanic for all factions as well. So,
Hmm.
or there's more like brave, or there's been the soldiers troops you got. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
then they'll probably they'll be more likely to actually function as you want them to.
Makes sense.
It does mean the turns are quite quick though, because all all the ideas are really quite straightforward.
Hmm.
It's just got a little bit of it's got a little bit of OSR DNA in there, but it kind of works because it's not fussy about what kind of. As long as the base size fits, it's not fussy what miniatures you're using. So long as you
Hmm.
can say, these count as human spearmen, it will do.
Yeah, it's this will suffice. Doesn't they're very mostly setting agnostic, effectively.
Pretty much. It's a really solid game. I've seen people play it. It looks honestly okay. But like the fact that the army section's just really quite open as well, so
Hmm.
there's nothing stopping you from just having like a goblin and dwarf army. But
Hmm.
that's just seeing it from the same kingdom. It's really good. So the way they set up, you can play either as a random skirmish, or you can pick a kingdom, and with um, each building type gives you access to like a different troop type.
Okay.
So if you have like an iron mine for a reason for something, that might give you access to they call them line breakers, the like infantry with two-handed weapons.
Hmm. So it's kind of like a resource
Yeah, that
game
entirely
kind of thing at the same time. You can
yes.
kind of do. Hmm.
I did quite like that. So you're not just playing a random army. It's just what that kingdom has at its disposal, and because of that, they
Hmm.
get that many units of certain types of soldiers. It's honestly, really good little system. It happens to be an Osprey game, but a lot of their games tend to work that way. They seem generic, but they're usually based in some sort of theme. Like this one's quite old school fantasy.
Hmm.
But the elves are kind of fantastic. Uh, really brave. Dwarves are absurdly tough. Goblins really dirt cheap, but they will be can field loads of the things rather than they had a bit of that. If you've all those old school ideas are very much still baked into the game.
Yeah.
But with a lot of but again, it kind of works with where a lot of these mass miniatures are coming from. It makes sense to just sort of simplify it into the stereotypes
It's
rather
one of
than just
those. Yeah, it's like
making a bespoke system for it.
the genericism actually works in its favor because it's not a system that
Oh
says
yeah,
you must use this exact range of miniatures, etc. It's just use whatever miniatures you want. 3D print miniatures if you want to.
yeah. I don't know if they mentioned that, but it's very much about. But if you've got the playing pieces, you can use them. It's
Yeah.
not fussy. If you're not Games Workshop system, so yeah, that's Oathmark. It's honestly a really decent. There's also like expansions, but I don't have the
Oh,
expansions. Which adds like more fantastical bits like spellcast, adds more spells and new factions, but you don't really
nice.
need it because the
Hmm.
main book is just that thorough. It's got everything you
Enough
really need.
content, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh yeah.
cool. So,
It's enough that yeah. Carry on there.
No, it's fine.
Oh,
Fine, it's fine. Carry on.
I just want to say that's yeah, that Oathmark honestly more on the more on the generic and middle of the middle scale for Osprey, but really solid game.
Hmm. So, moving on to our critical fumble section, and I need to keep an eye on things. I need to put the correct thing here. Yes, the funny car picture. Put that there. Yes. There we go. Don't
Funny
worry about
car
it.
picture.
Yes, it's just branding, for our critical fumbles.
Yeah.
Do we
Oh
have
yes.
what's our critical fumbles for this
Oh,
week? Oh,
the big elephant. The big elephant in the room is Games Workshop upsetting the fans again.
yeah. There's a lot of things have been happening over that. Didn't like I think feel like the CFO left as well. That was another thing that happened.
Yeah, that I'll be honest, that to me is far more interesting than the law from a business point of view.
Hmm.
You don't you don't just get a CFO to leave unless something's going horribly wrong.
Yeah. Apparently they've been like the CFO for like 30 or so years or something, and it was like, oh, guess they're going now. Bye. That's an
Yeah, that
odd.
doesn't just happen by
Yeah, that doesn't
itself.
just
Some
randomly
that they
happen.
know something.
Yeah.
Definitely know something's about to happen that they want to get out while it's going good.
Hmm.
To be
Cough,
fair, the law I
cough.
do get a little annoyed.
Cough,
Yeah,
cough,
the
golden
law is
parachute, cough,
yes,
cough.
yeah. In changing the law, I think it's all that's Games Workshop's done that loads of times, but it's still I don't know. It is a little. It's more a case of why are they changing the law rather than the fact that they're changing it. To
Hmm.
be honest, because to be fair, just a lot of franchises have done the whole let's let's put more female characters in center focus, but they're not doing it because it's what they want to do or because it would make the story any good. It's because some sort of social incentive, like with DEI, or I think the new term for it is bridge
Yeah.
in some circles. So it's not. Yeah, the problem is not that they're doing it; it's why they're trying to do it.
Yeah, it's
I think a
weird.
lot of people.
It's like if it wasn't the only reason, it would be absolutely
Mm,
fine and nobody would care. If there was, or if it was like a guided reason and they were doing it in an interesting way, like a new book or something, and having a new novel about it or
yes.
something like the hidden stories or something like that, people would be over the moon for it. But no, it's just like, oh yeah, yeah, we're just gonna briefly mention this and then just like not do
Yeah,
anything with it.
I highly suspect there'll be books
Which
from that library about it.
if they do, fair enough. But if it's just like if they do it actually in an interesting way, then fine. I don't care.
The they got Mina Lentz. Is that they made that one female Imperial Guard commissar as well?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of got a massive push as well not too long ago.
Hmm.
Though I think that was done with a genuine, or at least a partially genuine intent there. To be fair,
Yeah, I saw that generally
it's
quite
not the
well
first time they've
received.
done that.
So.
Yes, yeah. So that was before the Sweet Baby Ink Detected stuff was around.
Mm-hmm.
So that might not be a one-to-one. I do think I do think it's weird that they're trying to deliberately antagonize fans to not buy their stuff. In an age where a lot more people are counter suggesting a 3D printer.
Yeah. Well, I've seen kind of like six of one and half a dozen of the other. There is the on. Obviously, you're gonna get absolute extremist people on both ends, and I've seen the
Oh yeah,
worst of both. Some people, when their opinion is, oh, I just don't like him, and you look at their Twitter feed, and it's like some of the worst shit you could imagine, like like full on, like, oh, this person's not just like a Nazi, they're like an actual Nazi kind of problem. Like, oh, okay,
yeah.
then.
It's the rare times you do actually get that, but I think a lot of people they just I think they don't like the gaslighting, which that is pretty scummy.
Yeah.
But they're changing the plot, and they're trying the plot of this one faction. They're trying to tell people that it's always been that way when it clearly wasn't written up that way.
Hmm.
It's not even that old a faction really, because they were all, again because the custodians were always in the lore,
Yes.
but they were never playable, sort of like the Imperial Knights, because they were always there. They just weren't
Hmm.
really playable as a faction. until like a few years ago.
Yeah, because people are like, oh, why can't we play as this faction? Oh, fine, we'll make them into an actual bloody faction.
Hmm. Yeah, I do think it's a bit of a missed opportunity though, because if I was handling this, what I would have done is rather than try and force the idea that oh yeah, there've always been women in the custodies, there's no mention of it before. Actually, focus on the imperial custody stuff that is exclusively female that they've already got.
Hmm.
That they've already the Sisters of Silence. They've been there like the whole time since that faction was released.
Hmm.
But they didn't. But rather than like expand on that stuff, I think a lot of people would actually like it. Like Sisters of Battle as well.
Yeah.
Very much like an underdeveloped faction that people would really like to see more of. Which isn't just slightly female; they're all female as well.
Yeah,
But
because
unlike
they're
not like
both of
like
those factions are extremely niche at the moment. If they actually had more of a spotlight on them and actually, I'm not just say have miniatures, obviously they do, but if they actually had more miniatures or had more advertising about them, people would actually care about them more.
yes, yeah, like the Sisters of Battle are better off because they do. Having looked at their list, they do in fact have a faction you could probably pull enough variety from,
Hmm.
and they do have a really decent new range. So they're up to date for the most part.
Hmm.
Sisters of Silence, though, they're sort of like two places in like like Warhammer terms. It's like they're the Skaven slaves to uh, the custodies because they're slightly cheaper and they feel like one of two roles, and they're fairly good at it, but they're just like slightly worse than the custodies.
Hmm.
But they don't really. But the only units they've really got going for them, they've got like they've all got power armor. That's fine. So what's so standard?
Hmm.
Um, but they can either be equipped with bolters, special weapons, or power swords. That's about it for like the main bit for the bigger units that they can put up. And that's not bad, but it's also if you were really big. Imagine if you're a huge fan of System of Silence, you couldn't really make a brilliant army out of
Yeah,
just System of Silence units.
yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if it'd kill them to just say, okay, here's Sisters of Silence. Um, most of them have bolters. Give them like the Space Marine loadout a bit.
Hmm.
Give them special weapons within the bolter squads or something.
Yeah, just give
Um,
them something that makes them a little less mid.
yeah, that's very mid. That's very much the problem. They've only got access to one vehicle that's specific to them as well, and it's a Rhino, which isn't really specific because every Imperial faction
Has a
gets the Rhino
rhino.
if you're a
Yeah.
Marine. Yeah, which isn't. I mean, it can be given a weapon for anti-armor, but it's not really good for that.
Hmm.
So it's like they're very much the add-on to the Custodies, and they're all female, and I just feel like there was like an open goal there that missed.
Yeah. Uh. Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been a great opportunity for like new special characters for
Hmm.
that faction because I don't think they have one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but which they could print more miniatures that people can overcharge them. People would buy them because the faction's cool.
Hmm.
Um, I guess they thought it would be cooler just to shoehorn them into the custodies instead, rather than expand what they've already got.
Yeah. I kind of so from what I've seen is part of the argument is that um the 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 Sisters of Silence aren't full custodies or something, and people were wanting actual
Yeah,
full custodies that were female, which I can kind of get. But why don't you? But again, the argument boils back down to why don't you put some of them in the Sisters of Silence as heavy units for the Sisters of Silence?
expand the of silence.
Yeah.
Fair- I do think it's sort of like the argument of they want to have something visibly on the tabletop to show some sort of solidarity. So
Hmm.
they just sort of put them in the most high-ranking faction they can think of.
Hmm.
Sort of jump the queue a bit. Like if you're going by the law as it's currently written, the guardsmen and the Eldar are the most accommodating factions
Yeah, I mean,
by 20 miles.
I'm surprised that more people aren't like, hey, can we get like more female options for Imperial Guard boxes, etc.
We do have
Because we
some
know
now.
they exist.
I think there are some,
Hmm.
like the head swaps and stuff. But no, it's just the people. I think some people that more politically driven just quietly ignore that there are other factions that are more than happy to use women on the battlefield. They don't care.
Hmm.
Like the Imperial Guard, yeah, sure, die in the millions, whatever, not fussy. Or the Eldar, more than happy to do that. Dark Eldar, like the whole witch cults, they're
Yeah.
exclusive female as well. Um,
Um. What about the Tau? I feel like the Tau were probably fine
oh yeah,
too.
they're pretty. They're gender neutral too. Don't care whatsoever. They like 2006. They had like characters like Commander Shadow Sun.
Hmm.
It was like I guess it would have been at the time would have been interesting to have like a female special character with her own experimental, you know, battle suit.
Hmm.
For a while, she was like the best thing on the tabletop for that faction. Um, it was not the first. It's not they haven't dabbled in the idea. It's just they conveniently just ignore the other examples and just shoot the most expensive and most geared up faction. Go, oh, here's a woman in it. Fine. Never mind the other opportunities that we have got. We've clearly established women are in this faction. It's no problem whatsoever.
Yeah. I think there's also a place to be said for like you probably still could have introduced them in a better way. But maybe just like if you're gonna introduce them, sure, but like do it in a slightly better way.
I
You
think
know,
it's I think
without
it's a case of bad
gaslighting
timing.
people. Yeah.
Because if if a movie was to come out tomorrow, that's some sort of spy action movie, for instance,
Mm.
the movie could actually be quite good. If the movie could be the movie could have a female lead that you probably never heard of.
Mm.
The movie could actually be really good. But because of like the overabundance of female-led movies with poorly written dialogue and like ham-fisted sort of girl power vibes, a lot of people just and sometimes rightly just assume that it's going to be crap.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're not even wrong to do that, which is the sad bit. So it's very much a case of that. They just they put new female characters into the hobby in a time when doing so could be seen as like political panhandling for a bit of influence and diversity and inclusion money.
Mm. Um. Yeah. So moving on. My critical fun for
Yes.
the week is: have you heard? It's actually not Wizards for once because I think Wizards did something stupid,
Hey.
but I can't remember it. So you know what they're gonna pass this week. It's Nintendo. Yay!
Oh yes.
Because Nintendo has been on the crazy ban everything wagon again, and they've decided to have point their corporate finger at Gary's mod of all things, asking like Valve, like, "Oi, can you remove all of the Nintendo based mods for Gary's mod?" Which is bizarre, to say the least. I can't imagine that Gary's mod is competing with any Nintendo product at all in any capacity, and it's also their mods. You can't exactly stop modders from modding. They'll just make their mods
And so
more obscure.
imagine like Mojang coming after your Minecraft maps from like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That's
What?
that's the kind of level we're on.
Yeah. I don't get what's happening. Why would you? Why did you feel the need to crack down on this for a start? And I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. Because like there's probably like Nintendo mods in other games, like there's probably a bunch in for Skyrim or a bunch for Fallout, like even just like
Yeah.
outfits and stuff. Why specifically Gary's mod, like, and not everything else at the same time?
Maybe I think it's an easy target.
Possibly. maybe I think what it is that Nintendo, for one reason or another, is perhaps struggling for money lately, probably because their Pokemon games have not been doing as good lately because they're shit now. Um, and they're like, shit, we've fucked our big cash cow. Guess we better start suing people.
Yeah. It is quite funny though. 'Cause Nintendo has sometimes a history of like spurging out when it comes to legal stuff.
Yeah,
But the one I always go to is of all companies, Sega doesn't do this. They probably could.
yeah. The company that has to deal with shit like Sonic Inflation Adventure, all of the Fur Affinity stuff, so many fan games and other weird things, good and bad, and Sega just goes, cool. In fact, Sega did completely opposite to Nintendo, I think. With Sonic Mania, I think they hired a bunch of prolific, like, ROM hack makers to help them make the fucking game. They went the fucking Microsoft route and was like, fuck it, we'll hire them.
You know, the one I think the one is it's from not one of their older games, but I think it sticks out as just a really good example of memes of stuff that they could have sued for and just didn't.
Hmm.
Is it from the game Illbleed?
Uh-huh.
Uh, so the last level of that is insane. It's like a fever dream. Um, just post it memes. This is the final. This is the boss of the
Hang on
one of the final levels of Illbleed.
hang on,
They
I've
did
got
not
it.
sue over this.
Got it. Where it is, where we're looking. Okay. Fucking what? Fucking what?
Yeah, yeah. So like the last main level of the game is it's a weird, not quite Toy Story ripoff. Like the whole thing is like legally skirting around everything, and this
Yeah.
is clearly meant to be not quite Sonic.
It's also like
It's even called Zodic. It's
yeah,
not even close.
the
It's not even trying to be subtle.
yeah, the other good example is I don't know if they'll ever do it in the main game, but Pizza Tower when it was first made was a Sonic Sega like games festival like demo, and then got made into a proper game. And one of the main characters in that was called Snick, which was just an obvious Sonic parody, and they might bring Snick back in the main game. And Sega's just like, oh, cool, that's cool. You have Snick, cool. Carry on. No suing.
Sure.
No, not even a like
Less suing.
glare of like, don't put that in the full game. Nothing from Sega. Like, cool.
The other thing I wonder is how are they going to enforce this? There'll be people that have like got their Gmod maps from like when they were 15 saved on their
Because
hard drive somewhere.
the thing is, all the modders with their stuff on the Steam community page in the mod section, they'll just move their mods to somewhere else. You'll still be able to access all the fucking Sonic mods you want. You'll just have to go to a
It's just
slightly
legacy,
shadier site.
because they're legacy mods from when they were like 15. What are they going to do? Go around every single modder's house individually and just check they're not using assets that they don't think they should be using.
Yeah, it's like, huh? uh, I don't know what Nintendo's angle is here, and frankly, I don't want to know. It's just weird to me. But anyway, do you, my good sir, have a skirmish report for this couple of weeks? So we didn't get to do anything together, but I don't know if you were doing anything else in the
Yes,
meantime.
my D&D campaign's coming to an
Ooh,
end soonish.
poggers.
Um, yeah, it might be done by the next session, to be honest.
Nice. Sounds good. How's the
Yeah,
culmination
I
looking?
think they're ready. Got new magic gear.
Hmm.
Two of the characters now in one of the cults, which is more than I thought. I knew I get one.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's going well. I've managed to lure two player characters into joining a cult that is to most people quite transparently pretty evil.
Brilliant.
One of which I was completely expecting, and the other one is kind of dumb in character. So I'm thinking, you know what? Fine. Yes, he was an Oathbreaker Paladin. He is now no longer an Oathbreaker Paladin.
Interesting.
Yeah, I basically bribed them with magical gear to
Ooh,
prep them for the end.
nice.
I basically, like proper like Jin style, I asked them what they want out of it. How can I help them?
Ah.
If they made a decision that isn't optimal, that's on them,
The,
frankly.
the the finger of the monkey's paw curls kind of thing.
Yeah, well, but I gave them whatever upgrade they felt was important.
Mm,
Yeah, I was quite balanced with it. It wasn't trying to be cruel. Just
fairs.
it had to feel personal to the character, and then I tried to drive them into a more permanent kind of pact, which only worked once.
Yes.
Uh, but fine with me. Um, then honestly, I kind of want to move on to and it's fifth edition again, but it's the Talislanta as the next setting
Ah,
because honestly, I want to run something with a different vibe entirely,
hmm,
and Talislanta is all that.
sounds good.
Yeah, because I think the problem I have when I write stuff is in front of you when players can just not saying and I don't mind spellcasters, but at certain levels, players get access to spells that can mitigate whole rooms, whole scenarios.
Hmm.
Sometimes I just want to run something where that's not really possible.
Hmm.
So I want to run in a setting where you can't play magic users at all. Just nope, use your head.
Occasionally, literally, if we're going very low tech, and you're playing some sort of weird variant of a
Yeah,
barbarian.
and Atalanta is that's one of the core tenets. You cannot play traditionally magical characters unless your DM has put it in.
Hmm.
Then you have to find it because the whole idea is the art of magic's been lost. Just you just can't play wizards and sorcerers. Just bad exist.
Hmm.
You can find that a lot of the spells, while powerful, are really convenient, and I want to know what it's like to not have that as an option.
Yeah.
And it isn't completely unfair because it also applies to 90% of the other factions too. So no one's running around with magic for the most part, apart from the
Hmm.
very rare example.
And they are, it's like very early man, like borderline shamanistic stuff.
Yeah, that is actually one of the backgrounds. But you don't act. The magic you do get is limited and it's ritual based only.
Hmm.
You can't just casually whip out a cantrip. You got to have a whole ritual to do it. It might take a minute to an hour or something.
Yeah.
It's quite a good little system.
Makes sense.
That and I think I mean this has been dark fantasy we're running for the last few months, but I
Hmm.
just want something with a little less something that's distinctly not even close to high fantasy anymore.
Hmm.
So I think a change of system will be good for me. I think
Sounds good.
so that
So
way when I do want to run traditional fantasy again, I'll be like, oh, magic, it'll feel special
yeah,
again.
you'll feel enthused about it again,
Oh
rather
yeah,
than just going through the motions.
yeah.
So this week I don't have a skirmish report, but I do have an occasional section that we'll just call convention capers. Because
Oh yes.
last weekend I was at Command Fest Birmingham, doing some Magic the Gathering related stuff. I didn't actually get any games in because, well, there was a lot of events that cost extra money,
Oh
have
right.
or you buy like a higher tier ticket, and I only went for the basic ticket for the first time around because I didn't know what to expect. But there was like a casual tables, but people seem to go to this event in groups, which I didn't realize at first, and everyone just kind of sticks to their groups mostly. There aren't just people just going, "Oh, hey, we're doing this in like 10 minutes. Do you want to like join a game pod? Do you want to get jam some games in?" Maybe I should have been a bit more extroverted about it, but ugh, I don't know. First time at a convention like that, I was not feeling extroverted at all. But I did trade in a bunch of my cards. My binder didn't get any custom stuff done, but because there was a sign about it, like don't sell cards at this convention unless you're a vendor. Like I don't know if my custom stuff counts or not, and I don't want to get kicked out of the event. Thanks.
I want to find out.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to fuck around and find out. But I did get about 260 odd for the stuff in my binders, which was a bit more than I was expecting, to be honest. In fact, quite a bit more than I was expecting.
That's not bad.
Which
But,
the ticket cost me 25 quid, so considering I
okay,
probably wouldn't have been easily trade all that stuff in at my local game stores anyway, pretty good going.
we
I
should
got
get into that.
Yeah, I got some stuff signed. So I got one of my birds. It's called Mist Raven, signed by the artist
Right.
John Avon. Cost me like a couple quid because he was like one of the more, the more official side of signing things.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, I got that signed. I've gotten some stuff signed by one of my favorite content creators, Pleasant Kenobi. That was quite fun. And what else did I do? Oh, what else did I do? And I met a few people at the convention that were kind of cool and chill, a few other content creators and stuff, and watched a few games of like the high table kind of things, like the actual like events, which was quite interesting. But I did wind up leaving early because I was like, I felt a bit awkward, to be honest. But oh yeah, I also picked up some custom tokens myself. So there were a few vendors there doing like custom art tokens and stuff. So I did pick up a few things, and I might look into next time they do an event there at getting a stall if it's not too expensive. Maybe.
Okay.
So it was a good scouting trip, even if I did leave early, if nothing else. But yeah, that was Command Fest, and it was fun.
Okay.
Um,
I thought you were going to say you got completely flattened every other game.
no, I feel like if I had gotten into some games, I probably would have gotten flattened, to be honest, because I play very casually. I think if I joined any of the events, I would have gotten absolutely my ass handed to me, which I don't mind. I
Yeah, it
don't mind.
never was high level play.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my experience. I do recommend it, but I do recommend either going for the silver ticket if you can afford it, or doing a
Yeah.
couple of events, or simply don't go by yourself. Go with another couple of people who actually play the game as well. And because I think if you have a table and then invites somebody else to your table, it's probably fine. But me being by myself is a bit awkward. Anyway, that was that. Um, yes, our Explorers Guild section. Do we have a new locale that we wish to talk about this week?
Um, I'm trying to think. Yes, but there is one I got in mind because
Hmm.
it's come up. Um, it's sort of like so it's what I'm thinking about because they're looking Wizard of the Coast is looking into doing more Underdark stuff,
Ooh.
which fills me with cautious optimism.
Hmm.
Given yeah, I quite like the Underdark. It's not so much a new setting; it's a very very cool old one. Um, yeah. So basically, imagine basically imagine like deep underground, where everything that could possibly be out to get you is probably out to get you.
Hmm.
I love the idea of it's not just the fact that there's classically evil dark elves that will enslave you
Yeah, or the Dwergar that
or use you for
also will
sport.
probably.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
will probably enslave you. Or the mind players that will also probably enslave you.
Yeah.
Or the
Or the
purple
hook horrors
dragons,
that will
giant
probably kill
spiders.
you.
Yeah, and the fact that it's not just caves, there's rivers, like massive
Hmm.
miles of spider webs. Just a generally unpleasant place.
Zones that will kill you to eat your gems.
Oh, yeah, and oozes of
Yep.
every possible. Yeah, it's just a really nice way to write in a properly unpleasant area of the world.
Hmm.
Um, I heard that the new D&D going forward, they might try and clean up the image of the Underdark, which I'm not sure I like because I kind of like how oppressive the Underdark actually is.
Yeah, it would be a bit
Um,
weird if they did that.
I think they should do it to the Nine Hells. That'd be quite funny.
Just go full has-been hotel on the Nine Hells.
Yeah, I mean that or as a challenge, you make hell just so sickeningly sweet to be in, it's annoying.
Hmm.
So it's a different kind of eternal torment.
It's like hell is like heaven, except everything's slightly off in the very strange, uncanny way.
Everyone's way too nice and you want them to be mean and they refuse to do it.
Yeah, it's like oh, everything's great here, too great. It makes me uncomfortable. Like even the nice things, just it's so nice, but it makes me really uncomfortable the whole time.
Yeah, so that'd be the way to write in a backhanded way.
Mm.
It's like being a character from a Channel 4 drama stuck in a world run by the Care Bears.
Or alternatively, they could do it like just change hell to make it so like boringly corporate. Like it's just you have to go to reception, they fob you off to a different department, you go to a different department, they tell you have to go here, they have to tell you fill in this form, you go here, they tell you to fill in the form, you have to do like 7 interviews, and then you're stuck in a fucking dead end office job for like the rest of eternity.
Then that Acquisitions Incorporated though.
I haven't actually read the
Actually,
Acquisitions Incorporated book, so I wouldn't know.
put it on the app. Apparently that is a lot of. I don't know why you'd want to play that, but that is a thing. Um,
Yeah, I want to be a desk jockey in the Nine Hells.
I want to be an
Uh,
intern. That's what I want to do.
someone's crashed a demon engine again, and they're filing out insurance paperwork. For fuck's sake, I've got a. We've got one of the hires needs repairs again. How many soul coins
That
is it going to
idiocy.
cost this time?
They're not going to believe it. That the new hire from HR, he hired filled out a form 47C, on the 47C2.
Oh, didn't we phase out the 47C
Yeah.
too? Yeah, we phased out with the 47C8 B. No, D, sorry. We've gotten through so many different types of 47s. It's ridiculous. So someone needs to like streamline the system so we don't even need to fill out a 47. Maybe like fill out a 58 instead with a different tick box.
That's much less confusing.
It's much less confusing. Yeah. Please fill out form 57. Wasn't it 46 the other day? No, no, you changed the system again. Pray we don't change it further. You'll need to
Don't
go
know.
you'll need to go to the Browinge Affairs department.
Everyone has to wear orange suits, and it's slightly strange smelling.
Yeah.
Hmm. I don't know who. Don't know. I think some Reddit post might have said it, but I think they described hell as an office where it's always 5 minutes before closing shift.
Oh, yeah, that does sound
Yeah.
like hell. It's because that it gives you hope that will never come.
Yep. Yeah. So the Underdog, it's kind of great.
Hmm.
Honestly, I haven't looked at how much you could have to pay for it now, but Out of the Abyss, honestly, a really good adventure that takes mostly place in the Underdark. Um, it was because it was one of the early fifth edition ones. There's not too much of the weird power creep as well,
Hmm.
but it does have that weird problem of uneven balance.
Yeah.
So it's like you're level 1 and you've been kidnapped and you have none of your gear. Start. You're literally playing Prison Simulator for a bit.
Hmm.
Um, that's like chapter 1. Oh,
So,
and when you're free, you walk by a pair of hook horrors. They're just there. They're
it's
not nerfed in any way.
so oh
There's a temple of oozes, and you're like level 2.
yeah, like maybe
It's
be
great.
careful. Plus.
Yeah, that campaign will kill you.
Hmm.
But then in a lot like that, it doesn't sugarcoat it. It's from like the
Yeah.
era when the monster manual was kind of fresh, so they just put the monster that fitted in regardless of difficulty.
Hmm. Um. Yeah. I like the Underdark. I wish we could see more of it. The and if they flesh out in an interesting way, great.
To be
But
fair, I would you could do it its own setting book.
hmm.
Wouldn't that be cool? Setting
Yeah.
books. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
That would.
Um,
When did they last do a decent setting book?
do it a setting book and expand the Dark Elf stuff by having them have different warring factions. Actually, have them matter different Dark Elf subcultures
Hmm.
because they're mainly most of the humanoid stuff is just Dark Elves. So just flesh that out.
Hmm.
Have a whole bit on Duergar clans. You could really like just have a whole campaign in the Underdark
Yeah.
in like between
Isn't
two
there
cities.
also that where the Githyanki are as well, that Underdark?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, give us more
That's
Githyanki stuff as well.
like
Especially considering
what are the
Githyanki are
Githyanki
quite
anyway?
popular right now because of Baldur's Gate 3. Like, give us more Githyanki stuff.
Yeah, people like them now. We kind of like actually before that.
People actually
What
know
were
they
the
exist
Githyanki?
now. People actually
Like,
know
what
they
were they
exist.
anyway? They were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my setting this time around is, um, I don't know if it has a TTRPG, but I kind of want to look for one because I've been watching a lot of videos lately. I've been going down an SCP rabbit hole again for the first time in like a
Okay.
few years. Some of the stuff is awful, dumb, stupid stuff, as is to be expected from a
Yeah.
community written universe. But some of the stuff is quite funny, and some of it is quite interesting and good, particularly most of the earlier stuff. And I was thinking to myself, it's weird that they have a few apparently very decent video games, but I haven't really heard anything about a tabletop system, which would be cool, actually. Again, similar system
Oh,
situation like stuff like the Underdark, very meat grindery because anomalies are fucking dangerous. But can we have system, please, that isn't Fate? Because I remember playing a few. We did
yeah.
the years ago. I remember you and I were in a game where we were Foundation agents for the what was it? The King in Yellow SCP thing.
Yes.
And that was really fun,
Yeah.
but it would be nice to have
Hey,
a dedicated
got
system
somewhere.
for it.
Cthulhu.
Yeah, I think it would fit with Call of Cthulhu.
Literally my first thought was Call of Cthulhu.
So I don't
Got
know the
built-in insanity
system
system.
well enough, because
It's not that bad to be fair. It's D100. It
mm,
can work. It's not half bad. It's quite modern despite its origin.
oh,
Um, it's still going strong.
yeah, I might actually have to look into getting a basic book of Call of Cthulhu because
I do have. I think it's an edition old now, but I do have one. But I
mm,
haven't been to give a go.
yeah, because I've been wanting to play something or run something that isn't D&D for a while. Because while I do like running D&D as few and far
Yep.
between as I do my sessions, because I'm so busy a lot and I don't have time to plan for D&D sessions, I would like to run something as well. Even if it's just something very rules light or just something that I can improvise the fuck out of rather than doing a lot of prep.
It's not a bad system, but from the stuff I've seen,
Hmm.
it's all D100, and you have to roll below your below or above your skill in that thing.
Ah.
It's a really simple roll system. It's quite good. Um, and you can take it with any sort of tone you like because it's H.P. Lovecraft.
Hmm. Awesome sauce. So yeah, I think something either if it's like homebrew rules, whatever, some SCP universe related stuff, perhaps using Call of Cthulhu would be interesting. I don't know whether you'd run it as like your personnel of different types, or if you're just straight up D class having to deal with shit, or just random civilians get roped into it. But I think something like would be interesting. I think a lot of them hand themselves more to one shots though, rather than an outright
Yes.
campaign, unless you were to string things together in a masterful way. There's some
See,
things like the Red Sea object, which are definitely campaigns because they have like their own pocket dimension and stuff.
I think honestly, so it's the better backrooms content would suit that format really well.
Yeah,
There's a couple of really well done backrooms games that aren't just memes and wacky stuff.
yeah.
There's actually quite a decent game to it. I think that lends itself well to like a short campaign with maybe rather than characters mattering, it's agency budget.
Hmm.
You're literally paying for so every you don't you die multiple times in most sessions, but but you can always just upon completion of a floor or something, you can just you know use agency money to hire someone else, and that's how you keep respawning.
Hmm. You have a certain
'Cause
number of
that way you can make it,
personnel.
yeah, because that way you can feel all faceless and in theme without without completely kicking you from the game permanently.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like the way that the better games take it. They take the levels that aren't overly complicated and memes. They've got a really simple premise, like they might find a note somewhere in the level saying, "Oh, I remember be inside by 10 o'clock with the lights off."
Yeah, it's like the
So that's just a thing they'll have to remember.
I think the first 10, from what I can recall, the first sort of 10 layers, and I think some of the, I mean, you'd never want to wind up in the negative layers, but those ones and a few others are completely not memes and very serious. Like, the city would probably serve as your hub if you can survive long enough to get there. And then there's a
That would be
few
like
other
the starter
places.
scenario would be getting to the city, like here's a tutorial one.
Yeah, yeah.
But, but like put like a hound in it, a couple of hounds.
Mm.
If you can beat that one, now you're at the hub, and then that's like welcome to the game. Um, but you used to think it's the back rooms is really like quality is just like really high or really low.
Yeah, it's you've got to really sift. It's the same as SCP stuff. You've got to really sift through and find the actual good content made by people who are actually competent writers.
And I do think it is slightly better than SCP Foundation now, though. Having
Yeah,
compared them, because okay, what kills SCP interest for me is the amount of redactions people keep putting.
for no reason.
It's so
Yeah, I think that even like some of the admins of like the SCP stuff are like, please stop redacting stuff without good reason. Like, make it make
we
sense.
literally don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It makes sense of things like, okay, we've redacted like 5 of the 8 interviews or like scenarios of things for sake of brevity. Because, okay, there's like 20 instances of this thing occurring. We're going to redact 10 of them out of 13 because effort mostly. of Rather than having, okay, this thing happens that's basically the same as the previous, etc., etc. Give us the 3 most interesting
Yeah,
ones and narrow it down.
yeah, because
Redact
you don't need
everything
to know about
else.
these. They're actually
Yeah,
not that interesting.
maybe that's why the other ones are redacted, because they're not interesting enough for the Foundation to give a shit about anymore.
It's when there's more redactions than actual information.
Yeah,
You don't have to find that much with backrooms. It's actually pretty well
mm,
documented because it's meant to be for your eyes only.
yeah. The other thing I found with this SCP Foundation you've got to be really careful of is there are a lot of the later SCPs, not all of them, but there's a trend of trying to one up the previous like world-ending threat
Yeah,
of like,
an
oh
arms
yeah, this thing
race.
cannot be contained. It's super amazingly destructive. And what? How? What do you mean? How come it hasn't
Why are
destroyed
we
all of
containing
Earth
it
yet
then?
already? You idiot! Like, it's
Why
also
aren't we
just not fun. Where are the stakes? If there's no chance of us surviving this shit, it's boring. Give us like the tantalizing chance of getting rid of it or containing it or something. Even
The
think
one time I saw that oh sorry, carry on.
it's like if your thing is more powerful than 682, you're a bad writer, in my opinion. Like 682 is the really dangerous world-ending threat done right. Yeah, it's world-ending, but you can still kind of deal with it. We found a way as tentative as it is, to deal with the fucking thing.
Yeah, I think the one time I've seen that done actually well was some indie horror game. I couldn't tell you the number because I think the names all were interesting. It's basically the one weird SCP entry where just the sun
Oh yeah,
just melted people alive. That was actually really well done.
that was one
Um,
of the versions of 001, of which that's also a problem because there's like eight 001 versions.
yeah, but that was actually that was definitely like a doomsday scenario, but it was done in an
Yeah.
interesting way. And it wasn't written as like something that there'd be any sequels of. It was just like a one-off horror game that was a decent story, and
Mm.
it was fun. It was actually well done, and not like we have to contain this. It was pretty clear you were doomed from the start.
Hmm.
But then again, from a narrative, that can actually kind of work.
Yeah. It's kind of like the ending to your average, what's it fucking called? Dragon
I was
something.
researching in the middle of
Drakengard.
it.
It's like your average Drakengard ending. Like, oh, everything is absolutely fucked. But how do
You
we
are dead.
how do we deal with the last few moments of our lives this time?
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, it's the problem of when you have any community where you let loads of 12-year-olds start writing it.
Yeah.
Comes a weird arms race of my monster's cooler than yours. It's like,
My
okay,
monster's cooler than yours. Fuck you,
I,
Paul. Oh, I haven't written any monsters,
I don't.
John.
Yeah, that's how you end up with like unstoppable monsters. But it's like, okay, why?
Yeah.
I guess that's it then.
I actually generally prefer
Game
the
over.
more safe ones that are just weird. Like the fucking, I think it's the cake that just keeps replicating itself. That's potentially dangerous if you let it, keep doubling infinitely. But as long as you actually have people to eat some of the cake, it'll be fine. It's a weird one. It's like,
Yeah,
it's manageable.
yeah. I just think that the backrooms just still well, it's the best, but it does take itself seriously. At least the
Hmm.
SCP's gone way down the funny hole.
Yeah.
It's not really come back up. Like even like the sillier looking things in the back rooms, they still just flat out kill you. They still give
Yeah.
that universal rule out.
Like the, what are they called? The smiling
The wire
people
things look a bit
things.
daft. They
The
look a bit
party
daft, but
goers.
at least the danger's always there,
Yeah.
which I do quite appreciate. Um, Especially when you have no idea what half the stuff even is. It's
Hmm.
just
It's like, what
this is
the?
weird. We should send some nobodies down there. Um,
But yeah, that was the area I wanted to focus on today.
oh,
Who knows? Maybe I'll find a system yet. Because as much as I'd love to play it Call of Cthulhu style. I do actually wonder if someone's made an official system. But on that note, we're on our last section, our rules time machine. Do we have any rulings that were fixed in older editions, or just rulings that we think suck balls and need to be fixed from any tabletop systems?
yes, there is one that I found. Uh, this one is involving just social encounters.
Mm-hmm.
First edition, to its credit, did have rules for encountering. This is for random encounters, just groups of random humanoids.
Mm-hmm.
So this was actually they actually had a table to actually roll on for to decide their attitude towards you, despite not knowing you.
Ah,
There was always a chance that they might not be out to get you just because.
yeah.
Which I think a lot of games could use that because it just makes things a little more interesting.
I think that works. Yeah, because it's like not every orc band is gonna be able to get. I mean, they might see an opportunity, but they could also be too busy moving to another place and not wanting to lose many of their men to just some random encounter. They might just be like, yeah, we're not gonna deal with you. We're just gonna like awkwardly converse and then fuck off to the village we're actually going to raid or whatever.
Um, or if they see you're clearly just too well armed, they're not going to bother because
Yeah.
they don't want to die. I think that's just a really good one. Because the way a lot of the modules are written, there are goblins, they are hostile. What if they're just minding their own business and they might be hostile, maybe shifty, but not like instantly see a non-goblin, instantly open fire,
Yeah, it might be.
regardless of what they look like.
Hmm. Heck, if they have stuff, they might be willing to actually trade some stuff for something like their knickknacks they've stolen for something actually useful to them. They might
Yeah,
legitimately have like
it's
low tier magical items that they don't know how to use and be like, well, I can't use this. It seems shiny and important, so if you give me a bunch of things that I, like, then I can let you have this.
yeah. Yeah, I'm up for that. I think that would actually kind of gel well with modern Wizard of the Coast as well, because
Hmm.
they're on a bit of a bender of let's make the monsters less monstrous wherever we can.
Hmm.
They'd probably love something like this.
And at least it like makes more narrative and lore sense.
And it's not just because it's because,
Yeah.
well, I don't because it's like in a lot of D&D games, you're going through dungeons and it's implied you're the only ones there. I love the idea that there's other Tomb Raiders that are there before you.
Yeah, it's like we got here first, but we're kind of stuck. Oops.
Or maybe they don't want to share. They
Hmm.
were there first. You can just give them like basic. Like one fun way to do it is have like maybe a group, maybe same number of people as the players, maybe one less,
Hmm.
consisting of like the bandit stat block with a couple of the classic racial rules in for the different races of them,
Yeah.
and one of them which is a level 1 character or
Hmm.
with a few of the features taken out. That's like a surprise encounter you can run into is just a rival band of adventurers that might not like being that might not like you potentially getting in the way.
Hmm. Yeah. It's like, look, could you like leave? This is our like we got here first. This is our job. Fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, in a setting where every adventurer is implied to just delve into tombs and dungeons whenever the hell they want.
Hmm.
Why are you the only one there?
Yeah.
Also, it breaks up a lot of the other random encounters too. It's weird that you find a lot of animals and a lot of undead, but in the middle you can like maybe you could even foreshadow it by like um, if it's a, sort of a classic tomb kind of setup, you could have like some sort of crossroads room, and in it there's obviously the tombs, sarcophagi everywhere,
Hmm.
like they're built into the wall like a crypt. Loads of skeleton bones though
Hmm.
that clearly have been destroyed recently. Get people thinking, wait, hang on, who else is down here? So you can even foreshadow it, so it's not just necessarily a surprise. It's like sort of like just really encourage to do that. You're not alone down here.
Hmm.
Or even better, if like this particular crypt's got some like a relic that's is sacred to a certain church, maybe they really don't want you getting it because they're pilgrims from that church.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you can actually even with a simple dungeon, you can weave like just a few lines of narrative into it that actually make it kind of interesting, and you can take that plot point if it's relevant to the players, then spin that into a whole plot point. Let's say players being players, chaotic neutral style, decide that no, they want the thing, they found it, kill the pilgrims that are after it, and
Hmm.
then if they find out, if they see, recognize the symbol from what they're from their armor or whatever in another part of the country, they might, in passing, uh, mention or ask about what happened to that band that they swore they sent off to find that particular relic that the players are now holding on to.
Yeah, like, did you see anybody in there of this kind of garb, whatnot?
It can
Did
wait
you?
with them.
And then they can do an insight check if they lie. And being clerics, they might have a good wisdom stat.
But yeah, they probably would.
Like, hang
If
on a
they're running
minute.
like the classic cleric as well. Yeah, so you can actually have like little. You can have a whole campaign just off minor little run-ins like that, or it can
Hmm.
be nothing. But again, that's the beauty of the game. Um, so yeah, I've always thought just rules for social encounters that are like soft rules, I think are a bit brilliant, and there's not really enough of them.
Hmm.
Um, it's finding that sort of threading that fine line between rules that are too strict and demand it to happen this way every time,
Yeah.
and rules that are like, whatever you want. Don't worry about it.
Hmm. Yeah. So I confess I haven't actually looked at 5e rules lately or any sort of rule books recently. So I can't really think of anything to add in terms of rule changes stuff. Off the top of my
Okay,
head, I think the only thing that I would want to wonder about is I'd have to look at the new stuff because I know that D&D's sort of doing a sixth edition. What is it? D&D one
not
they're calling
really,
it
but
now,
it
but
is.
yeah, of
Did you one?
yeah, whatever the feck they were calling
Okay.
it. Um, have they fixed or made more clear some of the very vague descriptions of some of the spells in fifth edition? Because I feel like
Depends how we.
there's a few spells I can't think exactly off the top of my head that are very vague in what they cannot, and are supposed to do.
Yeah, that'll be that'll be a job all to itself.
Yeah.
Worth it though, because some of those spells are really strangely worded. I think the other one I could think of that's really good is this one was ripped straight from Talislanta. Um, they your characters have an inbuilt renown.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, yeah. So that the either your characters and the tribe you're with actively has reputation.
interesting.
So it's sort of like a soft currency,
Oh,
like a party that's been like a tribe that's been on some sort of offensive war against a rival tribe that keeps
yeah.
winning their battles might have a really good reputation, or or just be infamous for being particularly good fighters or something.
Kind of
That will actually affect.
like,
Yeah,
kind of like the faction infamy in Fallout New Vegas, where you can like have
pretty much.
renown
Yeah,
with one faction and be infamous and hated by another.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I just think that's a really good way to do it as well, because a lot of D&D parties become infamous as they go about for one reason or another.
Hmm.
But the world actually responds to that. Another
Hmm.
faction responds to that, so it might lock you off doing certain quests, or
Going into
even
certain
working with
cities,
other
yeah.
factions.
Like if you keep
Yeah,
fucking up,
it's really good.
and if you keep fucking over enough minor thieves, the thieves guild might not want to have anything to fucking do with you. Where you have to, in the section, we have to go down and ask them, "Hey, do you have any information on X big bad evil guy minion?" They'd be like, "No, fuck off. Stop killing our guys."
Yeah, the guy we happen to be working with. Yeah, we're not going to rat him out.
Yeah, or even if they're not necessarily working with them, they might one of their like beggars might have seen something like, well, you're not getting any information out of us because you keep killing our random thieves, doing literal petty theft or whatever. And under the guise of, oh, we're doing what's morally right. Fuck your moral rightness, asshole.
Well, you're working with a thieves guild, morally right, can take a
Yeah.
can that can go. Um, yeah, but also that just renown was just a really good idea, just for like as a soft currency.
Hmm.
Um, just for any tabletop game really, when a band of characters gets powerful or infamous enough where people should be at least partially aware that they exist.
Yeah, especially at higher levels when you should start gaining some level of like
Yeah.
people whispering about you, etc., etc.
Yeah, the way it works as well is that in different regions, your renown is different.
Mm.
So you're not. So it might be king shit in your home area because that's where your tribe's based, where your
Yeah.
rivals are based. But halfway around the world, in like the ash wastes or something, you're nobody. No one knows who you are.
Mm. Because word hasn't traveled that far because no one gives a shit about
Yeah,
something going on in the other half of the world unless it actually matters to them, in which case in particular in a low tech, low era setting, no one's gonna.
yeah.
Like
But word of mouth is the only way people know things.
yeah.
Apart from like it's kind of fun. It's one of the weird things about the setting I absolutely love. It doesn't have many of the old fancy races. Most of them aren't even here.
Hmm.
Goblins, tieflings, elves, even dwarves,
Hmm.
not there. Loads of tribal humans then though, and loads of lizard men. Beastmen are everywhere. They do keep Dragonborn, but they
Hmm.
think they're called Draken. Then the weird like way of looking at it, they get kind of get the tiefling treatment. They're really rare.
Hmm.
They're absurdly like powerful, and they're really clever because they're like one of the few races that remembers what it was like before.
Hmm.
So sure that they look like super bestial. They're actually the smartest people going,
Hmm.
apart from maybe one of the other artificially created races, because they were just the survivors here. They are the last remnants of their society before it all went completely to hell.
Uh-huh.
They're actually literate, which is like
That's
a crazy thing in the
incredible.
setting. Yeah,
Actually
they
read.
can actually read and write. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yep, that's it for this week, folks. Thank you guys for joining us on this absolutely crazy train that is the Byzantian Brews podcast. We'll see you guys soon for more well, I'll say stupid, for more hot takes, for more homebrew content, and definitely more card games on various vehicles. Probably.
Games on unicycles.
Hey. Oh, passing comment actually. There's actually one magic card that's it's a snake horse. So yeah, more card games on snake horses,
Oh,
please. Uh we will raid out now, I think. I'll find who to raid and we will go ping them and annoy them. I say annoy them. We'll just annoy them with horrific tangents, shall we?
Nah, that's alright. I don't know why that weird.
Right.
snake horse.
Yeah, it's
Caustic Bronco, is that the one? It
yeah,
looks
it's the
cool
one.
looking.
It's
I like
Caustic
that.
Bronco. Yeah, it's actually borderline playable as well. So
That actually looks really neat. That's not a meme.
yeah, it's actually funny. So see you guys soon. Give Zephyr Lily a nice big old honk from the geese, and we brewers will see you next time. Bye bye for now.
Please honk responsibly.